Yo, Tony D, back with a Cyberman special. RoboCop, issue 10. Man, I'm so excited to be finishing out the series. We have 2 more after this. And I will say this, for this run, if you didn't know how many issues were being released, you would have thought this was going to be over a few times in the beginning. There is such a back and forth with the antagonist, Killian, and RoboCop, where at one point you think, okay, RoboCop's got him. And Lewis, she plays a big part, being a detective, but it's been such a roller coaster ride of action. It's been perfect. So shout out to Cyberman. He really brought it, man, like recommending this. So we'll just keep going. I'll have something special planned when we do issue 12. And man, I'll make it fun for everybody. That's the way it should be, is fun. But Joshua Williamson is bringing it. Cover, Carlos Magno. He has been doing, I think he does pencils on issues 1 through, I want to say 8, and then they swapped up artists. But Alejandro Aragon did the issue before this, and I mentioned in that review that I was a little, I don't know, man, like, why are they doing this to me? Because Magno was bringing it. He had a real intricate, like a stipple effect. It wasn't pure stipple, but it was just, the line work in there was a lot, where you could tell a lot of time is spent on each rendering. And just to see that level of effort always brings respect, and like, you just like it. I like it. Like, for some reason, my viewpoint, when I see something that I can tell took a long time, because I've done a little bit of artwork, and I know, man, like, just these guys, these artists that do this work, they work extremely hard, and I just can't imagine the effort they have to go to. But man, let's get into this. So this continues. It's a very gritty dystopian saga, and it dives deeper into the consequences of OCP's surveillance state. They have cameras everywhere. They're watching everyone, and Killian has exposed that to get things working in his favor, really to cause unrest and get the public against OCP. And we'll find out more why he's doing that. There's a banger in here that we'll get to. And also to get the public against RoboCop. So you have there's lots of layers of things going on that this issue right here unveils why. And it was a great reveal. So, the thing about Killian, he's a charismatic antagonist, and just the knowledge he has, I always wondered, how could he be this tied in? But we shall see. So this issue starts off where OCP is doing damage control with the public with these weak ass commercials. They're bad. They're pretty funny, but they do fall in line with the satire that RoboCop, the movie, would bring. And it was funny to see that in the beginning. But each issue, you open up with just craziness. It's either like a battle or civil unrest, nothing but action. And it always seems to be like the second page. I'd like to go back and look at some of the other issues, but just pop. Yeah, see, they want RoboCop now, the police do. It's kind of funny how that works. Yeah, and they're chanting no CP, but also the coloring. Is it Louise? The colors. Yeah, Marissa Louise, like, her colors are fantastic. And we'll show some of that on display with the cool blue contrasting with the warm. She does a lot of that, a lot of muted colors to bring out the action that's centered in the panel or page. So RoboCop's coming to help out. And you have more, the OCP headquarters. They're talking to a guy here, I forget his name, man. He's not as he's less rememberable than Killian. Let me put it that way. Killian takes the front stage when there's other villains. Killian he's smart. He's very witty and crafty. And RoboCop still has this guy as his current partner, which I thought was a great addition. Splitting up Lewis from RoboCop, making her a detective. This really was a good addition. They played that well. So RoboCop, this is interesting, powerful too. RoboCop, he's going to do the whole get on the podium and make a speech, how they're not the enemy, and then just a Molotov cocktail just goes off. This is great right here. Like, this really reflects the visage that the people are starting to see, and it's like, this is the worst thing that could happen. We are here to protect you. Like, I mean, it's crazy. And like, the people, they're not digging it. So you're dealing with a lot of introspection with RoboCop as well, fighting with his programming. You can tell, he's a very stoic character. So can you imagine how hard it must be to write and to draw RoboCop with a lot of emotion going on around him? And he's very stoic. He has his prime directive. So you have a lot of things in play. So that's where this is important, where, I mean, look, he's yelling, but it seems like an emotional yell. So with this added to that, you're getting more human visual there. So that kind of ties in with what I'm trying to explain, is like just trying to draw emotion on a robot character. I bet it's tricky, but they nail it right here. You can tell with this right here, with the fire, he's frustrated. Of course, he's got to yell, he's on fire, but you can tell there's frustration and there's internal struggle with our hero. So then when they put the fire out, you get this, he's back to that stoic stance that he has. And so now we're with the mayor. And this is where you start getting a reveal that explains a lot, but it's also shocking. So Killian just shows up. And he pretty much, these guys, his bodyguards, they just, take off. Great paneling as always, where, bam, there's our guy. Little intro. So you see the back of these guys. It's like you're looking in the room. I kind of dug that. And it's like this is that cinematic. Whenever I say cinematic feel, there's a reason for that. And it's like this, like you're watching the whole thing there. And then you get the reaction from Killian. So you're swapping your camera angle. And it's the same thing, but the protection slowly disappears. I thought that was really great. Good use of paneling. And so he's wanting to tell the mayor a story. And this story involves his father, who I believe he was a politician. I want to get it right. A story about an old man and the old Detroit. So we're going back. The city wasn't as bad. There was still a lot of, crime, of course. And this really takes you back. Like, how far back is this? They really don't get into, like, what he did. I thought he was a politician, but talked about him. They have money, and he would be as a gentleman during the day, but like at night, he's partying, debauchery, and he gets into his wife and his kids, and just there's abuse for sure. And one day, one of the kids just has it, and like just boom, one of those cautionary tales. So he had two kids. So now, with him out of the picture, they fall into the middle class, and he's trying to take care of his mom. And one goes to an orphanage. It's the one that shot him. And the other is the one that can't deal with being middle class. So they're separated. And when they finally meet, you see the difference. And of course, this is Killian with the tattoo. I thought that tattoo was badass. And they're following their father's footsteps with the debauchery, the crime. They want a better tomorrow for themselves. I like how Williamson just writes in there, where men of means decide what is darkness and what is light. That's great writing. And who is allowed to enjoy either. So you can see how this is setting up where, they're working together. And this is, of course, the OCP CEO and Killian. So they're related. That was such a shock to me. It was a cool shock. I was like, oh, wow, this just brings it up to a whole nother level. Like, I thought Killian in the beginning was just a run-of-the-mill antagonist that they just kind of made up. And I thought, man, how's this going to work? But as time went on, they developed the character enough to where this is just a pop, man. It's like a gut punch. So his brother betrays him, and you get this told to you in previous issues where he does a stint in prison, keeps his mouth shut for the CEO. And as he's telling the mayor this story, Lewis is finding out as well. It's one reveal, but you're getting it from two perspectives. One straight from Killian, and then the other through reports with detective work. Really, Williamson did a fantastic job, like, bringing this. Like, it's one thing just to reveal something, but like this makes it extra special, gives it that extra pop. And he's wanting the codes to get into what he needs. And Lewis is finding out, like, the city needs RoboCop more than ever now with this reveal. And he's just like, the mayor, just a coward. The control codes, whatever you want, just keep your word. He's an honorable man. And then it's like, boom! That's a potty mouth panel. When I turned the page, it's kind of funny because I knew it was coming, but I guess I couldn't be ready enough because it's pretty graphic, man. Like, I really got into the details of, like, the hair. Like, it's pretty gruesome, but it's a gruesome dude. Even something, we talk about this a lot, just doing violence for violence just doesn't work. But when there's a purpose, and when I say purpose, it builds upon the impact. It builds upon this character. You get more of the sense, how far he is willing to go, how he has no remorse. So it's really defining this character even more. And even the police are like turning on RoboCop. So they find out the mayor's just bought the farm. So they're trying to protect OCP because that's who runs them. And there's such a conflict of interest at this point that, they really don't think they're going to survive the night with the unrest. And he tells everyone to get out. And this is where this extra character, his current partner, Kaplan, really, has a shining moment. RoboCop ain't leaving. Now, here's the thing. What do you think? Is this RoboCop's programming, or is this his human emotions taking over, making this decision to stay? So you always have this conflict of programming and human emotion with RoboCop. It's great. Yeah, and he calls me like, hey, asshole. So his partner's like, you're my partner. I can't let you stay here. Do this on your own. So he's ready. And he even gives RoboCop like a slap, like, hey, get it together, partner. We got a big final move and we need to do this. So it's like you get an expression there. And I was talking about this earlier, how hard it must be to portray emotion for a robot character to the point where just even a little expression there. So the artist did a great job just with that little, I mean, you can tell it's there. And the whole time he's like, he's not really, he's got that Judge Dredd grimace and just kind of, he breaks that grimace. And so we see even like, it's a quick pan to a prison where he needs an army now. And these are the control codes that he was getting from the mayor. So that's the explanation for that. And he just wants to like loot and burn Detroit. And he needs an army to do this. I'm kind of like, and I was thinking like, well, what's the end game for Killian now? Is it just burn it all? That's what it feels like. And yeah, man, he rallies his army, and what a great ending. Someone call the police. You know what I mean? Like, they've done nothing but crap on RoboCop, and now they need our guy. So a great issue 10, great reveal. I didn't think that would happen. And there's a lot of themes, you know, of surveillance, the consequences of surveillance, and just the humanity of it all. So like, man, to wrap it up, it's like, it's a great blending of cyberpunk noir with social commentary. There's a lot of that goes on in this book. It doesn't do it where it's like picking a side, sort of say. It's the story. Remember, this is 2014, so they do an excellent job being non-biased, because these are very social issues that go on even now. And they really don't give you, there's no right answer to a lot of what they show. There's a lot of ethical dilemmas faced by those enforcing the law in this broken system in the future. The pacing is tight. The dialogue does feel authentic, especially in scenes between RoboCop and Lewis, you know, as they're grappling with their roles in a crumbling society. And it just balances that action with introspection. And these are all classic themes. RoboCop being seen as a symbol of oppression. I thought it was cool, man. Like, yeah. So Killian really was once an OCP operative, but he just turned rogue. And the transformation from idealist to extremist, and that's what he was. He had huge ideals, even though they were criminal. And the extremist part of him is on full display. And I could see this setting up to be a classic battle. So is there even, like with this reveal, is there an even darker secret lurking within OCP's corporate walls? Like it leaves a lot open. Like this whole OCP running everything like they do just leaves his door open for a lot. But thanks, Cyberman. 2 more to go. Robo.